Great. Yes, I can see attendees hopping in. Good afternoon, everyone. We are going to get started in the next minute or so. While we are waiting for folks to log on, let's get to know each other. Just drop your business name and what do you do in the chat box. We would love to see who all are there in this webinar with us today. Hey, yeah. And I'm going to share my screen. Please let me know if you're able to view my screen. Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's get started. Again, welcome to today's webinar, Meet the VC, with Kaitlyn DeBernardo from Next Coast Ventures, presented by Early Growth. I know that you all have expected Mike to be the VC today, but he has got an important commitment to be taken care of. So therefore, we have someone similar expertise. Kaitlyn is a partner and head of platform at Next Coast Ventures. And my name is Khushboo, and I'm your event marketing manager for today and your host as well for today. Just a few housekeeping notes for you all. This webinar will last for approximately 60 minutes, including the time for Q&A at the end. You can place your questions in the Q&A panel at any time. This webinar will be recorded and sent to all of our registrants within 48 hours of this presentation. You can also find this recording and all of our previous recordings on our YouTube channel, and the link will be sent to you in the recording email as well. Okay, so something about Early Growth. Before we get started, let me tell you about us. At Early Growth, we have the entire finance stack covered, which really means is two things. First, you've got a strategic partner in growing your business. Our CFOs, with their years of experience in dozens of startups under their belts, help you see what's coming, good or bad, and take advantage of it. From strategic decisions to fundraising, they have seen it all before. Second, our CFOs, senior accountants, and tax advisors have taken care of all of the blockings and tackling related to day-to-day, month-to-month, and year-to-year of your finances so that you can focus on your business side of the role. Both Early Growth and our CFOs have been around the block a few times. We have helped and served around 5,000 clients coast to coast around the world, approximately 40 countries. As always, our CFOs have helped our clients raise billions of dollars. We would love to help you and serve you as well. Now, the most interesting part, what we believe. We believe in delivering peace of mind by providing you all one-on-one solutions for all of your needs or requirements, including CFO services, HR accounting, taxes, insurance, uh, and also we'd like to protect your profitability by giving you sole point of contact to answer all kinds of questions and strategic dashboards to help understand your business and company better. We want to be your partner in growth to help your business grow by we working in the back end so that you can focus on the growth side of your business. And we have our special promo running. I know that you all have already started with your planning of 20 taxes. If you want to get a provider in place before the end of year so that you can focus on effective tax planning before the year ends, we have a promo running to help you with that now. You can get $500 off of your 2022 tax preparations. Okay. And another interesting thing, so I have a fun poll questions for you all so that we know that what kind of interest you all hold for us. So we're gonna publish this now in just 2 seconds. You must be able to see on your screen. I hope you all are able to see the poll questions on your screen and you can answer it according to your convenience and your interest. It will be up and running at the end of the webinar. Okay, your team is critical to your success. And that's true whether you're building a startup or putting together a great webinar. We have got a number of great partners in the startup community, but for today's event, it's the best of the best. Early growth has always been focused on the team, the community. We know that together we go further. To bring you today's webinar, we have a startup dream team. And to tell you more about our partners, we have our moderator, Griffin, with us. Kris joined us as a business development manager approximately 6 months ago. And prior joining to Early Growth, Kris was working as a senior channel partner account manager at Community Brands for around 14 good years, where he had collaborated and managed relationships with resellers to help market and achieve their sales target. He's also worked as marketing relationship manager for 2 years. And with that, Kris has also been promotional director at Infinity Broadcasting Corporation for approximately 3 years. That's an extensive work experience, Kris, I must say. Before we proceed, just a reminder for you all, if you have any questions for our VC, please put them in the Q&A panel, not in the chat. So now, here to introduce our partners and to take over, Griffin.
Thanks so much, Khushboo. Much appreciated there. I realized my LinkedIn pic. I think I need to update that. I have way less hair than I did then, so probably need to go ahead and make that happen. But I do want to thank everybody for being on the line here today. Everybody from organizations, founders, whoever it may be, if you're stepping in there for a founder, very excited to have you on. These are something we try to do on a monthly basis, so hopefully you'll keep an eye out for future emails with other partners and VCs as well. But we love to kind of get the word out there, so to speak, to not only our VCs, but obviously here with our ecosystem and our partners themselves. I try to pick, luckily I get to pick partners that I feel like are good fits for not just this event, but I feel like they're on the same line of thinking as I am. The partners I have on today are incredible resources for all of you. So if you get a chance, I know they'll each present themselves here a little bit, talk about themselves and the company a little more specifically, but do not hesitate to jump on LinkedIn, go ahead and link up with them in that regard. But they are a great resource for you to lean on, not just for what they can do, but there's other contacts out there across the country. So if you're looking for something specific, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of them here. With that said, I'd like to go ahead and introduce Allison Cook with Cherry Bekaert first here. You're muted there, Allison.
Good afternoon. Sorry about that. So I'm Allison Cook with Cherry Bekaert. I head up our growth for our Texas market. We deliver digitally driven and industry aligned solutions to elevate our clients from mid-market players to market leaders in a hyper competitive landscape. So we're ranked among the largest accounting firms in the US. We offer specialized solutions across assurance, tax, business valuations, digital consulting, M&A, and other advisory services to advance our clients' business goals. We've been in business for more than 75 years, and we work with everyone from global corporations, private businesses, government entities, nonprofits, emerging firms, startups, and successful individuals have all relied on Cherry Bekaert to guide them forward as their growth advisor. So we specialize primarily in government services, healthcare, life sciences, hospitality, retail, industrial manufacturing, not-for-profit, private equity, professional services, and real estate and construction, and last but not least, technology. In addition to being a national practice, we do have an international reach through our affiliation with Alenial Global.
Perfect. Thanks so much there, Allison. I appreciate it. Let's go with Kara Hudson at TriNet.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Nice to meet you all. My name is Kara Hudson. I'm a consultant to startups and small businesses with TriNet. Basically, in short, we are the infrastructure that big companies leverage or use, that small companies acquire. In many ways, I think we're actually ahead of the curve to a lot of these big companies as well. But the good news is that, you can compete with those larger companies as you're doing various things as a startup, such as raising capital. Maybe you're trying to scale to next rounds or procuring new talent. Through our core competencies within our platform, TriNet, Those are going to be payroll, benefits, risk mitigation, HR experts, and all housed under our robust technology software platform. Essentially, you're taking advantage of our economies of scale to compete with those larger organizations. So as we know, small businesses are the drivers of economic growth. And we know that currently seed funding and rounds such as like Seed A are still getting checks, but growing companies is just a really, really tough job. For example, we have clients ranging anywhere from 3 employees all the way to in the thousands. Firms that I support, which are in the vertical of life science and technology, they've grown an incredible amount under our partnership. And typical firms on board with us and partner anywhere between 5 employees to 30, I would say. But whatever your journey to market may be, we want you obviously to become revenue generating while alongside insulating yourself from various threats of compliance and risk via that transfer of liability, which is onto our plate, and carry over that admin burden with our support of the enterprise level technology and dedicated SHRM HR experts to help you through every lock and step. Thanks, Kris.
Perfect, Kara. Thank you very much. And last but not least, Monica with Silicon Valley Bank. How are you there, Monica?
Hey, Kris. Thank you so much. Can everyone hear me okay? Hopefully, yes. Well, thanks, Kris and Khushboo. It's an honor to be on here today. Big fan of early growth. And also it's an honor to be alongside these other great partners. A little bit about SVB. We are a bank for tech and life sciences startups. We typically bank companies that are seeking to be institutionally backed. So those high growth tech startups. It's no surprise that we started on the West Coast about 35 years ago, but we've since expanded globally. We have a presence in pretty much every major city you can imagine. My team specifically, we deal with pre-Series A companies, but we can support companies from the day of incorporation to IPO or exit and beyond. We also bank VC funds and PE funds. Fun fact, we have a winery division as well and a private bank. So we really do a lot. There's not much that we don't do. And so if you're interested at all, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or Twitter. SVB has a very interesting history and I'd love to tell you all about it. Our main goal is to support founders, and many of us are former operators, some former founders, and we like to think that we come at things from a different angle. So hope to learn more today and hope to get in touch with you all. Thanks, Kris.
Thank you, Monica. Much appreciated there. And of course, Kaitlyn, I know everybody's waiting for the VC. Kaitlyn, how are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Good. Thanks for being able to make it. I think this worked out well. I know I chatted with you a little bit yesterday. How are the 2 kids? They doing okay?
Everyone's doing fine. Thank you.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Well, glad to have you on. But what I'd love to kind of start off with here, Kaitlyn, is how kind of your path and what got you into venture in general.
Yeah. And sorry for anyone who was expecting Mike. I'm about 10 years his junior with way less facial hair, but hopefully we'll keep it interesting as I represent Next Coast here. But yeah, so I joined the firm as a partner and head of platform in March. Prior to that, I was a company here based in Austin, one of the handful of unicorns here in Austin called Workrise, formerly known as RigUp. I joined as around the 50th employee right after the Series A, held a number of roles across running sales and business development. I ran product strategy. I was the chief of staff to the CEO. And the last role I had before I joined here was running financial operations, which was about 110 people, supporting a platform that did about $1.5 billion of gross volume. Prior to that, I worked at Chevron. Oil and gas actually was my background, which made the logical jump over to RigUp. I went to business school at Stanford, and I started my career on Wall Street. So prior to joining Next Coast, my background was primarily oil and gas strategy and finance, and then almost 5 years at a company that started as oil and gas software, but morphed into a skilled marketplace for multiple industries within industrial trades, and really just became kind of a tech company operator, taking the company from post-Series A all the way through the Series E, raising over $700 million from large institutional investors. I met the guys at Next Coast about a year ago. They were looking to build out their platform function, where people are not aware. I'd say about half to maybe 2/3 of venture firms have someone working what we call platform or portfolio operations. For sub-billion-dollar funds, it could be just one person. At Next Coast, currently it's one some of a marketing resource, but we do everything. We help a little bit during the diligence process, but primarily we're here to support our portfolio from when we write the check to the next check and hopefully an exit after that. And that covers a lot of things. But for me, I'm really a jack of all trades. I've had a lot of different roles in my career and I'm supposed to help, and I do help the businesses in really any way I can.
So I feel incredibly behind now. I thought my resume looked solid, but I'm well behind you. So congratulations. That's a lot right there that you've been through over the years here already. So I guess kind of the segue into this question then, what's exciting for you in the VC world? Is there something more specific that kind of really gets the juices going for you?
Yeah, so it's interesting perspective on my side. I think when you talk to an investing partner and a GP of a venture firm, it's they're really excited about that next big idea. And we certainly are. We have 3 investing partners here. And I'd say we even skew a little bit more towards the person. We're really big on like, is that a glass eating entrepreneur that we can get behind? Of course, they need to have an idea, needs to fit into a theme, which we feel confident about is going to like be a game changer in the world. And can we, build this company to get them to a successful exit in the future? But for me, it was more about how can I get that experience, take the almost 5 years of experience I had from anything from like setting up a legal entity to HR hats to ops to setting up sales commission for the first time to implementing from growing up in CRM and all the things I did in a variety of roles and help our founders, many of whom are doing it the first time. Certainly we've invested in some founders that this is not their first time doing it, but particularly for our first time founders and then even the founders that just need support in the functions that they're not skilled yet. How can I kind of help that? And so rather than going from, I wouldn't even call it a startup anymore, but one company to the next for me, I thought, let me go to a venture capital firm that I really can get behind the people who work here, the values the firm has, the way the firm helps companies build, and take some of that skill set and apply it to a broader set of companies.
Very nice. So can you give us an overview of your investment thesis and the formation?
Yeah, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the firm as well. So Next Coast Ventures, we're based here in Austin, Texas. We've been around for about 6 years. We have a little over $500 million of AUM. We closed Fund 3 in March, which put that total AUM over $500 million. We also raised an opportunity fund, which allows us to continue to invest in our companies as they sort of graduate through the venture stages. And we also have what we call a search fund for entrepreneurship through acquisition. That's Next Coast ETA. That's a different model of venture capital that helps back searchers who want to acquire a business and become an entrepreneur through acquisition. Generally speaking, we're generalists. We're not sector-focused investors. We invest across 8 themes. I'm happy to talk about some of them now, but you can also read them on our website. We refresh them based on what's going on in the market. And so with that, stage-wise, we've done seed investing, we've done Series A investing, we've done Series B investing. And then, of course, as our companies continue to grow and scale through the stack, we've certainly participated as well. So our Select Fund, for example, allows us to invest in those companies as they continue to grow. We recently participated in a company called Submittable Series C. And so that's why we raised that fund. A lot of our companies are doing really well and they're sort of graduating into what kind of looks like a different return profile or just getting to later stage and into growth equity. And that Select Fund allows us to continue to invest in that.
Perfect. And so is it a generalist fund or are you focused on certain sectors?
Yeah, so generalists, I'd say we do consumer tech, enterprise tech, what we call kind of emerging platforms. So we have a couple marketplace businesses, for example. Marketplace for us is actually a theme. Reimagining marketplaces is the theme. So if you think about dating back and the next wave of disaggregators within that market. So within that, we've got 4 or 5 businesses. Haul, which is actually based in Denver, Colorado, which is a marketplace for commercial truck drivers. RigUp actually was a marketplace for skilled labor. So I have a lot of experience in marketplaces. A business called Hip E-commerce, which is a marketplace for comic books and other collectibles. FloorFound is many things, but it's really in the re-commerce space. And if you think about how do you return oversized goods, there's a marketplace for buyers and sellers to make sure we can figure out where to place those goods. And then Acadium, which actually fits into 2 themes. It's in our reimagined marketplaces, but also in our the University Unbundled, as they allow colleges to create content and courses, and then allow students from different universities to get that content.
Great. Well, how involved are you with the companies you invest in? Is it a monthly meetup? Is it kind of, what does that process look like for you?
Yeah, it's a great question. A little more background there, I think, will be helpful. So when you think about when Mike Snorkel and Tom Ball are the two co-founders, when they started the firm, the idea was, let's build a firm built by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. And you'll hear that through not only what we say on our website and our marketing, but really how we act. Work with hardworking teams and really help them with company building. And so brief background on the three investing partners. Mike actually started his career, he worked for LoudCloud under Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz. After that, he started his entrepreneurship journey. He purchased a business called Service Source, started as a 30-person startup. Over the next 12 years as CEO, he took that company public, 3,000 employees, close to $300 million in revenue. Super seasoned operator, knows what it's like to be an experienced CEO. Tom, if anyone in the Austin community will likely know Tom because he was at Austin Ventures prior to founding Next Coast Ventures. He was an investor in Retail Me Not and Bizarre Voice, multiple exits. And then prior to that, he also founded and was CEO of two businesses that one was merged and one sold to a public company. And then Adam Rogers actually started, he's our most recent addition as a third investing partner about 2 years ago. He started as a software developer intern at Ultimate Software in college. Worked his way up to CTO, was CTO for a number of years, then the CEO, and was part of the $11 billion take private deal by Hellman and Friedman. So all three of the investing partners have heavy operational experience, also have investing experience, like to be really hands-on. I'd say for the deals where we have a board seat, which is about half of them, because when we invest in A, let's say we lead the round, we take a bulk of the round, we get a board seat. Very hands-on. I mean, it depends on the investing partner and the way the CEO likes to operate. If they've had this kind of relationship before, how experienced they are, what stage of their company are they going through at the moment? I'd say some companies we talk to on a weekly basis. Sometimes it's a weekly 30-minute catch-up with my board member, but also at the same time, maybe emailing me for some help with some other things. And then the other end of the spectrum would be a company where we didn't lead the round, we wrote a seed check, company's doing great, but we're not on the board or we're not their lead investors. They might have a stronger relationship there, in which case we get quarterly updates at a minimum. And then of course, we're always available to help as well. We've got a Slack channel for our portfolio. We do a bunch of events and webinars solely for our portfolio. So we're kind of in the middle of everything.
Okay, great. So I know we've talked about it, kind of the growth of Next Coast in general here, and you kind of moved more towards a Series A type and beyond. What do you see in terms of some key differences, or that you see between a Series seed and then a Series A?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, for us, I think it's about, there's some component around longevity or consistency of revenue. So we don't typically put a number out there like you must be at X revenue, because I think every company is just a little bit different. And even the way someone calculates recurring revenue versus non-recurring, sometimes you might be in a type of deal where, oh yeah, well, this is all recurring. Well, it's not contractually recurring if your customers are billed monthly, for example. I love that you have super low churn, but that might actually be contractual revenue. So we hate to just say like you must have X revenue in order to fit the Next Coast portfolio, but there's a revenue kind of benchmark, I'd say, really strong product market fit. Versus for the seed deal, I mean, we have gone as early as a real concept deal where they don't have any revenue yet. It really is just an idea. In those cases, typically what they call them is a network toehold. So we are so impressed by this entrepreneur. We think this is a true glass-eating entrepreneur solving a big problem. They're uniquely positioned to solve it. This is the right time for them to go solve it. And it's just early in the stage of this business, early for what we would typically do as a Series A investment. So we'll go ahead, we'll participate and or lead a seed investment. We'll get us hands on if we need to, because we feel like if we don't, we're going to miss the A. They're going to go to somebody else. And we want to kind of prove to them that we are their partner of choice. So we will invest pretty early there.
Sure. No, that's perfect.
But in terms of what kind of classifies the market into what stage, like the market tells us, right, a little bit. So.
Exactly. Not so much you, the market tells you. So I guess for Next Coast Ventures, what is, I guess, a unique or disproportionate value that you bring?
Yeah, I really, as I mentioned with the investing partners' backgrounds, I think that makes a big difference. That's not to say there aren't fantastic venture capitalists who have never been
Sure.
operators. I just think what your relationship looks like with your board member and or your venture capital firm that's your, the largest investor on your cap table looks different based on that person's background. It might just be a governance relationship. It might be they're really financial savvy. They help structure deals for you. They're really there to help you think about your cap table. But for us, we really want to be an operator with you.
Right.
And so if I can think of more specific examples, what that might be. We had a business called Tenfold, which we had a successful exit. They got acquired by a public company. We actually replaced the CEO there. Like that doesn't very often happen in venture capital, but we were super close with the founding team and the broader executive team. We realized what the business was going through really needed a new CEO. The new CEO was brought in, and he and Mike would whiteboard weekly on what is going on with this business. What do we need to turn it around? I mean, Mike was really, in the trenches, so to say. I don't want to take any credit away from the CEO who positioned the company fantastically for a successful exit, but Mike really was in there with him. Tom is on probably close to 10 boards at this point and is really active with most of his companies. But I see the same thing. Like we have this Austin office, about 60% of our companies are based in Austin. We have our entrepreneurs in our office very frequently, coming in our office, doing strategy sessions with us. How can we help? Talent is another big part. I'm not a recruiter by background, but in the platform role, you tend to take on a talent hat sometimes. But for me, it's about, are you sure that's the role you need to hire for now? What do you actually need? Is someone just telling you to hire a head of finance, or is that actually what you need right now? You can still give early growth, your bookkeeping and some FP&A analysis. You might not be ready yet for head of finance, but let's talk about some of that. Okay, I agree with you. I think we've reached the point that you are ready. Let me help you write the JD. What type of person are you looking for? How should we go about paying them? Honestly, how can we recruit them? They're at a Series D, E company, probably sitting comfortably. Maybe they thought they were going to go public. Who knows what the market's going to do? But let's say they're sitting in a well-funded big company and you're trying to recruit them to come to your Series A business. So we do a lot of that too, and how we can get good talent. Most of the executives that are hired across our portfolio, particularly for the businesses that we've led an A round, we're involved in the interview process. We're sending candidates to them, so we're pretty hands-on with that. From my perspective on the platform side, usually I call it like software and service providers that companies in general, even though our companies look very different, as I said, different stages, different sectors, because where they fit into our 8 themes, typically everyone needs really good HR software, needs a really good applicant tracking system. The general ledger, QuickBooks, of course, those are a little bit easier decisions, but what about sales quota software? Or are we ready yet to go up to Salesforce? Are we okay with the more JV inexpensive CRM? So we do a lot of work there too. That's more on my end on the platform side. Say, solutions that can sort of scale across the portfolio are more in my foray, versus those one-on-one kind of strategy sessions with the CEO founders are typically where our board members spend a lot of time.
Got it. No, that was great answer there. That was perfect. A lot of detail around that. What does the decision-making process look like for you folks? So, the diligence process, how long does it normally take? And what are some of the key steps in that process?
Yeah, it's a great point. So we've got, on the venture side, as I mentioned, we also have that ETA business too, but on the venture side, we have 3 associates and 3 investing partners. And, the associates are tasked with deal flow is one of those things. We have our very typical venture firm, I get like a weekly meeting where we go over pipeline. A lot of our deals though are, not to say this and discourage anyone who's on the call and looking to raise funds, but a lot of our deals have come just through referrals. We have entrepreneurs that have really enjoyed working with us. So when they know someone who's out raising money, they go, we got to talk to Next Coast because Kaitlyn helped me with XYZ and Adam was on my board and I've really benefited a lot from them. So we get a lot of referrals from our network, especially, from our exits too. We've had 10 successful exits in the last handful of years. Yeah, so the deals can come from a variety of places. We also have what we call our Entrepreneurs Fund, our expert network. That's another 175 people affiliated with the firm. And we have our venture partners. We have 8 of those. So we've kind of got our tentacles in a few places and the way the deals kind of come in. Diligence probably looks pretty standard. You know, we kind of get conviction across the firm. Does it fit into one of our themes? What kind of diligence can we do on the entrepreneur, him or herself? Are they really that glass-eating entrepreneur? Would we feel comfortable putting this person in front of our LPs? How impressive are they? What's their background? Certainly okay to be a first-time founder. We've had wildly successful first-time founders. Look at Julia Cheek at Everlywell. That was her first business, but really understanding, you know, what's going to happen when push comes to shove with entrepreneurs. And then I'd say we're pretty quick on the diligence side, pretty or standard or quick, I would say, whether it's 30 or 45 days. Really just then digging deeper. You know, we've never pulled a term sheet. 99% of our term sheets end up in deals. I think there was one, but it's not because we pulled it, something else happened. So, you know, when we get that far with someone and we give you a term sheet, we start on that deep diligence, we both want to make it to the finish.
Sure. So I guess that's a good segue to the next question here for the founders or entrepreneurs that are on the call. What are some pet peeves that you have when they pitch?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think our firm, whether that's because of the personality type of our investing partner or the operating background of our investing partners, is everyone is pretty humble. Like, I'll brag about the other partners all day long, but they won't do it themselves. So I think when we meet founders who are overly exaggerated, bombastic, and boastful of all that, it almost sends a red flag, because I want to see enthusiasm and passion for the problem you're solving, but at the same time, you're just getting started. Like, we don't know what the road is ahead of you. So on the softer sales side, I'd say like humility, balance with that confidence or passion or enthusiasm for what you're going to solve is really important to us. Another one that you'd be surprised is just some founders are not organized. Like, you get an email, like, well, you already emailed me that, or they'll forget to follow up. I mean, we give advice to our companies when they're raising subsequent financing to keep a tracker almost as if it's your CRM and hold it close to the chest. Someone needs to fully own your fundraising process. Make sure whoever was contacted at the investor, the same point of contact all the way through. Use some sort of either Dropbox or Box or Google Drive to keep track of what documents you've shared, what's accessed, what's not. Like, your fundraising process has to be so tight. Like, don't aggravate an investor because you told them you were going to send something and you didn't, or you sent them the wrong file, or you said you were going to follow up, or you scheduled a Zoom and you forgot about it. I mean, you'd be surprised that I know there's a lot going on. We have a lot going on too, but the process has to be so buttoned up. Sure.
That makes perfect sense. So hopefully the founders and organizations that are on the call take that to heart there. In your opinion, what do successful founders do well?
At the board level, I'd say the successful founders are ones that know their business inside and out, provide enough information to get that advice from their board, and aren't afraid to ask for help. You know, sometimes you see the extremes. You've got, God, this founder's kind of annoying. Like, they're just constantly asking for help. I'm doubting whether they had it together in the first place. I think maybe they're in over their head. Or the other side is, I never hear from them. When I ask them for things, I don't get it. Or when I tried to go a step deeper in the conversation, they didn't know. And you wonder, well, how much time are they actually spending in this business, and how deep do they need to go? Or are they just nervous? Are they kind of hiding something? Like, maybe something's not going well, and that's why they don't want to go super deep. The sweet spot's in the middle, right? Keep a good relationship with your board and your investors. Figure out what the communication style, the cadence, the frequency, the form of that kind of communication style that works well for everybody. Give enough of an update that everyone feels informed. The conversations in your board meetings can be strategic, not, oh, catch me up on this because I didn't know what was going on. And have humility. Like I said, if there's something you need help for, you need help with, ask. Like, we sometimes we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So if it is something we can help with, please ask.
Okay, that's definitely good to know. I'll kind of bring this one back around here as we're closing out here. So feel free, by the way, everybody on the phone, to start listing out those questions if you do have them. I'll get to that here momentarily for you. It can be either to Kaitlyn or if you have a question perhaps for one of our partners on the line, more than happy to get those answered for you as well. But kind of last question here as we start to wrap this up, Kaitlyn, what would be one message or lesson learned that you hope entrepreneurs can take with them from the experience in today's chat in general?
I'd say in my experience, just the venture firm really matters. I get all money is green, but like all venture money is not the same. And of course, that's the terms of the deal. And yes, I hope you have like good counsel and you've thought about that, because that all matters. But we really pride ourselves on being a partner. So know that's what you're getting when you get money from us, right? Like, do you want someone who is going to be hands-on and has an operator background and wants to do that with you? You might not want that. You might want to go, you know what? My company is honestly, I'm in a race against competition. It is a blast to sales. I just need people that are super well connected. I'm actually better off raising from 50 angels who have been CROs in the past who can sell my company. And maybe that's what you need. So I know the market is tough and you might have to go get money from anywhere, but the market is challenging. But I think with the right positioned company, with the thoughtfulness around what type of investor you want, the venture firms are different. It's not all the same. So really understand kind of what you want out of your venture partner. And that kind of goes the same for other service providers, like of your tax provider, of your outsourced finance. Like, what do you really want? They're not all the same. And so that's what I would say. I mean, some venture firms raise really big early stage funds and they write 300 checks. And there's a certain type of service and conversation level you'll get from a firm like that. There's other firms that only invest in a handful of businesses. So I would just really think about the type of firm when you're that founder raising money.
Perfect. Good answer there. Next Coast, here's a question actually from one of the guests on the line. Is Next Coast Ventures currently deploying capital for new investments?
Yeah, absolutely. So we closed Fund 3 in March. And we're actively, deploying it as prudently and capital efficiently as we can. The market's been interesting, but we're continuing to look for deals. We're continuing to invest in deals. Fund-wise, so Fund 3 was almost $200 million, which we closed in March. So we had plenty of capital to put to work. We typically deploy funds, I'd say, over a 2 to 3 year period. So we've got plenty of capital to put to work. We've written a handful of checks in both seed and Series A deals out of Fund 3 so far.
Perfect. Here's always a good one that pops up on these calls. What is the best way to pitch you? And I know you did hit on some of these points earlier, but just to kind of recap a little bit.
Yeah, I say so. An introduction from someone else is often helpful, right? Like maybe you went to school with someone who worked at one of our portfolio companies. I'm just saying it's always good to kind of get in the network a little bit, but of course that's not always possible. It could be, I've never heard of them, but now that I've heard about them, I really want to get to know them. Just reach out. We have the contact thing on our website. Those actually do come to us. We read all of them and we see kind of who's there. I think crafting and mastering the cold email outreach is a skill in itself. That is another one that is, I need to say enough about me and enough about the problem I'm solving, enough about my company to get someone to read this. Similar how when I was in sales, like how do you get someone to read your cold email? Just enough. Maybe there's a link to some additional information. If you are willing to meet us in person, that's always great. I think post-COVID, everyone's a little tired of meeting with people on Zoom. So, hey, I'm actually going to be in Austin. Awesome. Maybe you're already based here. That's great too. Of course, we've met with plenty of entrepreneurs not based in Austin. So I'd say, in general, like get some advice from your peers, from any of these other startup communities on like, what does that email look like? Because I think it does matter. And then also make sure everything else is buttoned up. Your LinkedIn profile is accurate. If there is a link to your website, if you have one already, your website looks nice, because that's the first thing we're going to do. Oh, who is this person? Let me look them up on LinkedIn. Let me go to their website. And then we're going to pull some other data from PitchBook and other publicly available information to see if there's anything else about you. So nail that cold email. And as I said before, through the fundraising process, I would consider the cold email as one of the first steps of a really buttoned fundraising process. One of the things that you need to make sure is super tight when you start that process.
Nice, very nice. So here's a little bit of a long one, so I'll kind of take it slow here for you. So we develop a business plan. This is from one of the founders here. Marketing plan, explainer video, pitch deck, CEO leadership training, etc. Before we write code, we've created an entire program around that. How would our clients who have all this be onboarded with you?
As in our clients, so they're talking about a business
I
that.
think, yeah, how would our clients, I think he's talking about in terms of their particular clients, founders that they may be working with, how would their clients, and if I'm misstating that there, Sylvester, feel free to write that back in. Let me just read through it again to make sure how he presented the question. So develop the business plan, marketing plan, explainer video, pitch deck, CEO leadership, etc. there. We've created an entire program around that. So how would their clients, well, he's saying, how would our clients who have all this be onboarded with you?
Yeah, let me see if I get it. So there's twofold. If he's talking about the service he provides, which is they help startups do some of those things, the marketing, the leadership, all of that. Me as the platform professional, I talk to service providers like that all the time. So if you're trying to sell some of that CEO coaching, it sounds like, and lower code software development, you can certainly reach out to me and I can see if anyone in our portfolio is interested. So if we've already made the investment, we might be beyond where your services, it sounds like. So perhaps you're better off going to like a Capital Factory or a Techstars or something, if that's where you typically do it. And then from a company perspective, we don't really need to know if you used another firm to help you with some of your marketing and coaching and all that. That's fantastic. What you ultimately present to the investor just needs to be that button-up package. I think I heard the question.
Okay, I think you're hitting on it. He did. I was waiting to see if he would follow up. I think he was also asking, ultimately, he'd like to be able to introduce potential clients there to you.
I see. Yeah.
Is I think what he's hitting on. And I guess to dive into that, what is, again, you kind of already brought it up, really through referrals, may not connect with you technically if you haven't met them before, potentially there. I know you used entrepreneurs. Typically you get a lot of those where they may reach out saying, hey, I think I've got somebody for you that you should talk with. That seems to be the best route there from what you stated earlier. So just to let Sylvester know there on the line. And Sylvester, feel free don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to kind of take a deeper dive with you and see what direction we may be able to take you there. And let me look through, just want to make sure. I know there was one for SVB. They actually popped off the line, but that was a good question. I'll get back with you on that. I'll email you that information here and get back with you on SVB, your question surrounding that. Let me just scroll through here. I know we hit on some due diligence. I felt that one was fully answered here earlier. I know that was right. I think that was one of the latter questions we have.
There's one in the chat that I think is interesting, actually.
Go ahead.
I take a position not to beg for money, but rather build and they shall come. Any thoughts on the strategy? I love it. If you can bootstrap, by all means, right? I mean, that's another phenomenal thing. And I think it puts you in a really unique position especially right now. I think there are some companies that raised a lot of money at really high valuations before they had legitimate product market fit or, reached certain milestones that frankly in a different climate would have been more appropriate for that valuation. And now they're struggling, right? Because they're having a hard time growing into that valuation now when multiples have compressed. Right. So if you can build a business bootstrapped and get it to some of those indicators we're looking for, good for you. You'll own more of the business. You'll raise less capital over time. You'll keep more of that business and experience less dilution. So I think that's, for us, you don't have to have raised institutional money for us to think that's a good investment. If you notice, I didn't really talk about that in my investment criteria. It's not like we got to see that they went through Capital Factory or, that is certainly not something that, you must do in order to raise a Series A from an institutional investor. It's helpful, right? You probably need money to attract some talent and get things off and running. But if you have the funds to do it, or you can bootstrap your way into a Series A, by all means, good for you.
Kaitlyn, I see one on here. It's rather lengthy. I don't know if you want to touch on that one. Perhaps I'm kind of just making sure there's nothing left here. I think it may be more of a reach out to you directly through here.
I'd say just let's talk offline. That's
perfect. I'm gonna make sure there's nothing on the. Okay, perfect. So it looks like I think we've not seeing any further come in through the chat. I was just kind of running through and verifying anything we may not have spoken about already through the other. I know we've got a Q&A and then a chat window, so we have both here. Just want to make sure I'm covering everything as much as possible. Just to let everybody know, again, this is being recorded. We will have it on YouTube. We will for sure, everybody, the partners and myself will definitely be touching base just to make sure you have what you need there. So probably expect something over the next couple of weeks just to see how things are going and if there's anything you may need from us, or if we can get you in touch with somebody, make that connection there. I'll do one last run through just to make sure. Okay, so it looks like most of these are working on connection there. Kaitlyn, I really appreciate you jumping on. Again, I know for you it was a bit last second. Really loved having you on. You gave some incredibly detailed answers here for us. I need to have you on more of these, to be honest. That was great. So no pressure, but I think we'll definitely want you on some more of these in the near future there. But we really appreciate you being on. Thank you again for the partners that were on with us. Great to have you. Again, I want to hit home for the folks on the phone. Again, lean on us. We're resources here. It's not all about what we can just do specifically for you. If there's connections we can assist in making, we want to be able to do that as well. That's a big part of it, right? It's all part of the ecosystem. It's a domino effect. Everybody helping everybody. That's why I like the partners I have on today and the contacts from each partner that we have on, because that's how they think, that's how they view things. So keep that in mind. Again, don't hesitate. Connect with us on LinkedIn. More than happy to try and help you out in any way, hopefully that we can there. But outside of that, Khushboo, I will let you take over here.
Thank you so much, Kris. Thank you, Kaitlyn. It was a very good and interactive session, I must say. Thank you so much, audience, for being so interactive with all of us. I just want to inform you that we have another VC coming up on November 9th. It will be with Silverton Partners at same time, 12 p.m. PST. You'll be getting notifications through emails as well. And keep following us on social media channels of Early Growth. You can find us on all interwebs, and this webinar will be available in 48 hours. So until then, thank you so much. Looking forward to meet you all again.
Kris, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.